Everybody, welcome back to OWR episode 3. I think 3, maybe 4, something like that. 3 or 4. And here again with Toby and Kyle. Kyle joining us today from his man cave. Not sure what you want to call it, but you got some sweet swag back there you'll have to tell everybody about. I know there's some sweet picks from Indy and some tickets to go along. So that's pretty cool. But, this week – not a ton to talk about news-wise. It's been a slow news week, no real signings. Although I will say Hinch is back from missing, so he's been back active on Twitter. I never did really see if he said why he's been MIA for a while, but happy that he was back at it a bit, apparently. So, but this week we thought we'd just kind of tell some stories, talk about our favorite races, kind of kill the time a little bit. Hope to share some of our experiences and love with all of you all from our time at Indy and Gateway and other places. But we've had a lot of fun at those races, that's for sure. I know week 1 we hinted a bit about our last adventure at Indy in the RV, and Toby and his wife beat her. And I know, Toby, you probably don't remember that day, but we'll relive it for you.
You need to post those pictures on social media.
Yeah, but that's a day that starts so early in the morning. Yeah. Anyway,
what time did we leave?
I don't remember because we had to come back and get the damn tickets.
We left. It was 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah, but then I don't know how far we got, but in that big RV, it feels like it was pretty far.
Yeah, we were on the interstate for sure.
And I realized the tickets were back at home. So made that U-turn back. But, that was a fun year. I think, Kyle, that was your first year going, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was my very first. And that's why Toby, he was so excited that I was going. He texted me as soon as he found out I was going months before saying, and Toby's not a big drinker, and told me, hey, Indy 500, we're drinking heavy. I was like, all right, man.
You would drink and keep up with me.
Yeah, and I, not to brag, but I can drink, and like I said, Toby's not a big drinker, so I was like, all right, yeah, we'll have fun. And I had fun that day. I can't say Toby did, but
no, it was fine. It worked out.
He got drunk so early in the morning that he was over the drunkenness and into hangover zone before we even got back home.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're going to do it, why not go ahead and get the entire process from getting hammered, passing out, waking up, hungover, and get over it all in the same day?
The funny thing is that our normal Indy trips up to that point had included a stop at Denny's for breakfast along the way. It's one reason we leave so early. Beat the traffic for one, get a decent parking spot at the church that we've been parking at, and get a nice breakfast at Denny's. Well, this year I had the RV. We had scoped out a nice parking lot that allowed us to single day park in the RV, and we thought, well, shit, let's not stop for breakfast. Let's pack breakfast. Let's pack some griddles. Let's pack the grill and go up and just tailgate that morning and hang out at the RV. Because, normally we go into the race so early that we go walk around the infield a little bit, kind of check out the booths and see the setup, which is fun. Actually, I enjoy that part of it.
Yeah.
And then get back to our seats in time for all the, pomp and circumstance stuff, the parade and everything else that comes through. But then you kind of got this lull, like this race kind of starts, but like it's a long day in your seat. And so this year I thought, let's just, we've seen that, kind of done that. Let's hang out at the RV longer.
Yeah.
Well, so the problem with that is when you got somebody killing, what were you drinking? Like Bloody Mary? Vodka and orange juice. There was at least a Bloody Mary involved early.
Well, at 3 in the morning, as soon as we all got to the RV at David's house, Toby handed me a White Russian. And I was like, okay, cool. We can get started. And next thing I know, Toby's on his second one. And I was like, ooh. I was like, I don't know how hard you want to go here, Toby. And I told you all morning that this is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. And you started getting mad at me because I wasn't keeping up with you. And the drunker you got, the more mad you got at me. And I was like, I'm not keeping up with you, Toby. Like, you need to take my lead on this. And there was no stopping you.
Toby went for the ultra marathon at the 5K pace. It was brutal. And so we, I think he might have been drunk before he even got there.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Yeah, but no, I was doing okay, and because we cooked some, and we stayed there for a couple hours at the RV. And
well, here's how we know Toby was drunk at the RV. Was we have a picture of us all cooking on the griddles, and Toby's hanging out there with his wife beater on, which is nothing wrong with that. But myself and Toby, we don't have the stature to pull off a wife beater out in public. But Toby was sure trying that day.
That's bullshit.
And it really wasn't like there was no warning. Like we just kind of turned around and it was like, bam, Toby's there, like with his wife beater on, hammered. And so anyway, so we cooked breakfast. One thing I remember about that was that those griddles must have been turning a hell of a lot of watts because they kept kicking the breaker off. Remember that?
Yeah, I forgot about yeah.
And we'd be cooking. We're like, stop cooking. And so we kept going. And we had extension cords out the wazoo. We were trying to plug it into every different plug in that RV we could find. And it kept kicking breakers. And I had never had a breaker go off in that RV before. So I had no idea where the hell they were half the time. And so it took us forever to cook breakfast because we kept resetting the thing. And so that just gave Toby more time to drink more White Russians or whatever the hell else you had going
Once
on.
we got there, I know he was drinking screwdrivers.
Well, yeah, because Kent had he brought a bottle of vodka. And I was like, I'm not going to drink this stuff straight. So I just started mixing orange juice with it. I think I might have put down about half of that bottle by myself.
Yeah, I remember when we were leaving to walk to the track, you showed me the bottle, and it was more than half empty.
But I mean, let's be honest. The only reason we left to go to the track when we did because we were a little worried. We were a little worried that if we didn't, Toby wasn't going to make it to the track.
Yeah, that's why I remember that's why we
left. It would
left.
probably been better to stay at the RV though.
No, you would have. It would have been better to stay at the RV because you would have passed out and we could have went not worried about you.
We should have left your ass at the RV. So we had a little side powwow. And it might have been Dad that first said it. He's like, we should probably go in. Like everybody was like,
and it was still early.
Toby's not slowing down. And so we're like, all right, fine. So we finished breakfast. We pack up the stuff, pack up the RV, get it all ready to go, whatever, and hike on in there. And he's like, let me make one for the
road. Well, I remember the walk there. What you would say a half-mile walk to the track?
Maybe that, yeah.
Well, I remember, David, you were pretty much babysitting Toby because he was just wandering everywhere. And Dad was kind of starting to get upset. I was like, Dad, like, Toby's a grown man. Like, I'm going to have fun at this track. Like, if he gets arrested, we'll get him at jail. I said, if he has to end up at the hospital, we'll pick him up at the hospital. Like, he's not going to ruin my day. And, no, luckily you didn't, but by the grace of God.
That part's a little surprising because by the time we make it there, yeah, I think we wandered around the infield stuff.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
and then we get back to.
I continue to drink while.
I remember you were taking shots of Crown Royal at the Wall Memorial.
Yeah, for those of you that haven't been to the 500, you were allowed to bring a cooler that fits like 12 by 14 or
it's certain dimensions. Yeah, 11 by 14 by 14, I think.
Yeah, there's some specific dimensions. So if you're going to take a cooler, look it up. But a lot of people bring wheeled ones because you got to walk forever to get to the track, or other people carry them in backpack style, so everybody pretty much packs their cooler for the day. And, it's a mix of sodas, water, beer, snacks, whatever. Ours pretty much consisted of beer. Not much of anything else, and so we pack the coolers in. So it gives you plenty of opportunity, which is in today's sport, you don't see that. That's a pretty cool thing because drinks are so daggone expensive.
That's something when Penske bought the track, people were kind of worried. He better not change this. And luckily he didn't, but
yeah. I mean, that's one thing about it. I went to a few NASCAR races and everything else. That's one thing that they always allow you to do is take in a cooler.
That's cool. So we get in the track and we do our lap around and, seeing the booths and checking out the Corvettes because Chevy always has a pretty cool setup in there and Honda does too. And, go through all the, the teams have their trailer set up with all their team gear and
nice and all that.
Yeah. And it's all real close to where the garages are. So you kind of walk past there. You don't get to see too well unless you get those passes, which we haven't, but So we walk around and we finally were like, all right, let's go back. Let's go on and sit in our seats. And we get to our seats and Toby is like, there's nobody there because it's early. It's still early. And so he's like, I'm going to take a nap, which I don't blame him. And he gets laid out on one of those benches and is gone. He's gone to the world. He's out. And like, I don't know how he didn't roll off the bench, but he's got himself.
Are you calling Toby round?
No, just any of us. It's not a big bench.
And so, Rolly?
that day you were Rolly. And so he gets himself kind of propped in there and he is out, like sleeping. And I'm like, well, shit, this is probably a good thing. And so we're all kind of laughing and, watching the parade and all this stuff.
And sipping our beers like a good person
our
should
beer,
do.
Because we know we're on a marathon, not the 5K or the sprint. But people start showing up and they're like giving him the stink eye because they're like, that dude's in my seat and he's passed out. And I remember like going to wake him up and he's like semi-angry drunk, wake up like, what are you waking me up for? I'm like, dude, these people want to sit down. And so he's like, all right, I got to go for a walk or something. And so he gets up and do we just let him leave? Like, I don't really remember how he gets down the stairs.
Yeah, we let him leave. You were worried about him. I was just like, dude, he's a grown man. We'll figure it out.
Thanks, Kyle.
So he leaves, and there's some. I mean, these stairs aren't the steep. They're pretty steep. They're not the shortest stairs in the world, and to get back down there. And so he walks on back down there, and he's gone. He's gone for a while.
Yeah.
Well,
I found him first.
Yeah. So Kyle and Dad like go down to the restroom and maybe get something.
We got a hot dog, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they see him, and
No, we were going back up the bleachers. We were climbing back up the stairs, and we hear these two women in front of us.
No, that's when we were going back down. That's when we were going back down.
No, this Dad and I first.
Okay. I just remember walking. I thought we were walking back down, you and I, and there was these two ladies, and they were like, "Where'd that dude go?"
Yeah.
And we're like,
because Dad and I did not see him. And these two girls were talking about this drunk guy by the concession stand, and they're pointing and laughing at him. So me and Dad just start laughing. We look over the edge of the stairs, and Toby's there just passed out against the wall, kind of close.
I mean, like, we can.
Oh, yeah. Like, Dad passed out. And Dad and I just lost it. We thought it was so funny. And, I mean, this is really bad. Dad and I didn't even go back down and check on him. We just laughed and went back up to our seats. But then I told you about it. And so after a little bit, you were getting worried about him. So we went back down, and he moved. He wasn't at that location anymore.
He somehow made his way to the stairs, and the stairs had like a different set of stairs.
It was like a closed off stairs. Yeah.
Yeah. Like straight up to like the tower stairs. And they had been caution taped off. But he had climbed under the caution tape and was laying on the stairs. And he was out there, and there were people just walking by. And I'm like, what is that? Anyway.
So I think you grabbed him then, didn't you?
I think so. But after that, he started to snap out of it. He was coming around a bit, I think. I don't really remember the details too well, but I remember that shit was funny.
By the time I got back up to the seat, I felt terrible, but felt back a little bit back to normal.
And this was all before the race started. The race hasn't even started yet.
I was actually against the wall when the race started.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
He was down there a while.
I missed a good hour and a half of the race down there on those stairs and stuff.
You missed the whole race. Don't lie.
Well, the second half of the race, when I came back up to the seat, I was just sitting there.
Hey, Toby, your favorite driver won that day too.
Yeah, go figure. But
who's that, Toby?
Willpower. The rest of the race was fine, but I started feeling horrible, like when we were walking back to the RV. That's when I really felt bad. I felt like real hungover-ish. And I was like, man, this is terrible. And we started driving back. I think we stopped to get me some Advil.
Well, we stopped at Margaritaville.
Well, we stopped and got Advil first before we ate. Then we stopped at Margaritaville. We ate, which from the time we left until we got done eating was probably 2 hours. going back to the car and getting back and everything like that. And then we ate. So I started feeling bad for a couple hours after I had the Advil and everything, ate something. And we were on the way back around 7:00, 6:37, and I actually started feeling good. When I got home, I felt great.
And I remember, on the interstate, not far from home, him being like, "Man, I remember for another drink. I'm feeling bad." I'm like, "You get the hell out of here, man! You're crazy."
that entire day, most people start at like 5:00 in the afternoon or in the evening, and then by 2:00 in the morning is when they pass out and everything like that. And the next morning is when they feel terrible. So it spans 2 different days. I just got it done in one day.
But
the secret.
How much? Yeah, it's the secret. How much did you spend for the ticket, and you didn't even watch the race?
Yeah, it was over $100, but
yeah, I can't wait till this year to go.
Oh, I know. Maybe till we remember it.
We already got our tickets.
No, I agree.
It's really disappointing that we didn't get to go this year.
We were the last 25% that was able to go, and then that got canceled. I was heartbroken.
Yeah, I agree. So that was a fun day for different reasons. Of course, the race
that's the day I fell in love with IndyCar.
The crazy thing about it is, like I know we said early on, but being from Indiana, that race is, the Purdue marching band with the big, drum coming through, and they always do a big salute to service with all the, military and law enforcement, making their rounds around the track. And it's just, there's just so much to that race, even beyond just the race itself. That's it's just fun and exciting, and it's cool. And, singing back home again in Indiana, and, since Majors passed away and they had to bring somebody new in, but I felt like they did a good job. And it's just such a fun day. It's just a really, really cool day.
It's so much more than racing. I mean, it's an incredible race. The tradition of just the race is unbelievable. There's nothing like it, but everything else it means for the state of Indiana and for just the world of racing, I mean, it's next to none.
When we first started going back, we actually had tickets on the inside of the track in a similar spot.
Do you remember that very first time we went?
That's what I was about to bring up. So
what year was it?
I don't even remember, honestly, but it was, our tickets were, you could say it and I wouldn't argue because I really have no idea.
Well, if you remember who'd won, we could probably figure out what year it was. But.
I don't remember who won, to be honest with you. All I remember, like literally, it was the hottest day that I could ever remember my entire life. And I know it broke track records on how hot it was that day.
The 2018 one is still the standing record, but we were underneath shade, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But the 18 one broke the record.
But we were, those seats that we had that were on the inside of the track, still right there just before kind of start finish line, up toward the bottom or that bottom section. It was really cool because you could see the pits great. I mean, the action there was really cool. Enjoy the seats, but they were just outside of the shade, and it was so hot. I literally was taking drinks like sodas and beer out of my cooler, so I had a place to stick my head, and I was putting my head down in the cooler because of the ice water to cool myself off. Like and
you're just in the sun the whole time.
Yeah.
It literally felt like we were cooking.
So packed in. With being so packed in, it was hard to get in and out too, because I think we were in the middle. So you had to step over people to get out. So you didn't really want to get out because it was so much trouble. And the sun was just beating down on your face. You literally just pouring water on the top of our heads the whole time. And it would dry in minutes. So you see, I was soaked and then pouring and dried. It was, oh my gosh, it was terrible.
And then
Iraq was a little hot also. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but you're like, whatever. Like it's like you're fighting a war or something. Come on. But was it the year we went when dudes kept catching on fire? The cars kept catching on fire. Who was
Zach
that?
Beach did. Zach Beach. Yeah, it's like one pit stop. It was 2018, Zach Veach. One pit stop. I mean, his car almost got engulfed in flames when he was getting fuel at the pit lane, and it seemed like two other times his car was on fire as he was leaving pit lane. It was unbelievable.
That was weird. That was unbelievable. I remember back when IndyCar had fuel that burned clear, and that shit would catch on fire, and they made a big deal about it because no one could see it. So the driver would be like getting out of the car like on fire, and people wouldn't even know. So
it was like Ricky Bobby.
It was like Ricky Bobby, man. It's like, oh, fire.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to our dad about. Was they started going to the 500 early 80s, and then went for about 7-8 years. And I thought he went before that, but then he was talking about they stopped going. He went with his dad, and they stopped going because his dad was kind of the 1990 Indy. My grandpa kind of wandered off, and he couldn't find them for half the race, so they stopped going after that. But he was talking about when he started going back with you guys, how happy he was to start going back to the track.
Yeah, it was something that I know we mentioned this early, but I don't know how it came up in conversation, but I knew it was something that I didn't really watch. I didn't dislike it by any means, but I wasn't like super into it. But I knew it was something Dad was really into, and kind of came up one day. I'm like, I'd go, and Toby went, and my father-in-law Kent went, and we had a great time.
Did you all start going when I was gone in the Army?
Honestly, man, I think we said it was about 8 years ago we started going.
It was about 8 years.
I was already home.
Yeah. So yeah, it was but it was fun. It was one of those things like, we've kind of joked about now that we have the show and we're all big fans, how sweet it would be to be up there, week of, like doing some, podcast in the infield or whatever, prior to the race day, race week or whatever.
Last year, Dad and I went to Carb Day, and it was a lot of fun. The Freedom 100 is not even getting ran this year, but still, Carb Day, you could walk around and look at all the booths and look at everything just like it is during the 500, but without the crowd. So it was kind of fun to be able to just freely walk around and see stuff. So I would like to go back to Carb Day.
Yeah, they say, I've read before that that's a great day to like introduce like kids, like just to the experience and so a lot of folks will take their kids up there on Carb Day, but maybe not back to the race. And so I know, Jack's at that age where every year we go, he's like, I want to go. And, Sydney's even showing a lot of interest in cars lately. So I may have to figure out how to get up there.
Be fun. I'm planning on taking off work that whole week just so I don't miss anything. But yeah, it would be a good time to take Jack or Colin or whoever's Sydney, whoever's interested in going.
Yeah.
I mean, they still get to see they do their final practice at Carb Day. So they still, get to see the cars going at speed, practice a pit stop, stuff like that. So it's still a lot of fun to go.
When do they have the pit stop competition?
I think it's Carb Day also.
Okay.
Left.
That's a separate ticket though, right?
Yeah, I think it was like $25 to get in.
Okay, so that'd be great.
Yeah, and like they had the Freedom 100, and at the time, last year I just had no interest in the Indy Lights, which I would like to get into Indy Lights this year, but they're not having the Freedom 100. But once they started the Freedom 100, we walked around, started seeing things, and we left shortly after that. But then I think I'm almost positive they have the pit stop practice after the Freedom 100 last year. So.
That's cool.
That's what I would like to go to qualification, but I don't want to drive up to Indy on a Saturday and then go back on a Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the next day?
Somewhere on Saturday, stay the night.
Yeah, we definitely could. That turns out to be more expensive than the actual 500. Then
that's okay.
But you're talking about the week. You're talking about the weekend before.
Yeah. But no, that would be fun. I would be down for that. You know me, I'll go to any IndyCar stuff y'all want to go to.
Cool. I noticed you had some new swag back behind you, Kyle. What do you got back there?
Oh yeah, so Dad was going through some of his old stuff and found some old pictures. I don't know how to point here. So that is a picture of when Rick Mears won the 1984 Indy 500.
Which is who you're named after.
Yeah, supposedly. But my dad's trying to find that ticket to go with it. All the rest of them have tickets, but that one's the infamous 1985 spin and win, Danny Sullivan, and the ticket to go with it. And that was the seats Dad or my grandpa went to. He has pictures of Mario Andretti, AJ Foyt, like all these legendary racers that he took with his camera. But the next one, it just goes down the line. So 86 is Bobby Rahal. 87 is Al Unser. That's the time he won his 4th Indy 500. Then the next one is Rick Mears winning his 3rd one. Then Emerson Fittipaldi. And then the next one that's after the Connor Daly's on there is it's Ari Leindyke winning in the 90s or 1990. But it's kind of cool because Dad made frames he blew up the pictures and put the tickets that go with it. So
that's cool.
Something cool to have up in my little man cave pole barn thing I got going on.
I can't wait till you get a racing card in there for Shep.
I can't wait. Yeah, I hope so. But
really awesome.
But yeah, I got a couple more things to hang up that Dad gave me, but frames are on the way. But here in a little bit, we'll have all this whole wall covered up in IndyCar stuff.
It won't be a man cave; it'll be a race shop.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I like to collect the new stuff, but also anytime I can get my hands on any history type stuff, that's really cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've talked a lot about Indy, but this you and Dad started the year before last going to Gateway.
Yeah.
Out in St. Louis area. And it's such I got to go, this year. It's such a different experience. It was for one, it was COVID, so I think the crowd was quite a bit smaller, but
2019 it was a lot busier.
There's not like all the booths and there's not all this like pomp, all that stuff that comes with the Indy 500 race, but the fact you could see the whole track, like it's a cool mix, I really enjoyed it. I thought that was a blast being able to see that, and
2019. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the other cool thing about it was that it was like a doubleheader race weekend. So right before that race, they had the NASCAR trucks out there, and Kyle likes to laugh at me because for whatever reason, I love the trucks. I have no idea why, but if I could own one of those trucks and make it street legal, I would drive one every single day. But I love those things for some reason. And so it was cool to get to see the truck race. Too bad it wasn't one that Connor was racing in. So it was kind of neat when him and Pastrana did that. But being able to watch the Indy race there at Gateway was a really cool experience.
Yeah, in 2019, the birth of my son was kind of close to the Indy 500. So we were nervous about buying tickets for that. So instead, Dad and I decided to go to Worldwide Technology Raceway, Gateway. Didn't really know what to expect. And a buddy of mine told me to sit high. It's way better if you sit high in the bleachers. So that's what we did. We sat high right on the finish start line. And it was awesome. It was so much different than Indy 500 because, where we sit in the 500 is you see them coming off turn 4, see them going down the straightaway, and they're gone when they turn at turn 1. Well, at Gateway, you see them around the entire track. I think it's a 1.25 mile track. And you can, I can follow my favorite drivers or the leaders the entire time. So for different reasons, it's such a cool track to go to.
So is it finish start line or start finish line?
Either one.
It's safe. Yeah. So that was the first time I had been, there when I went with you guys this year, and we had a really good time. But it was a really cool track. I enjoyed that a lot. And so I know this year we're probably not going back to Gateway because I think we're going to throw in Nashville, hopefully, because I'm
100% we're throwing in Nashville.
Yeah, being 3 hours from home or less, that's being a downtown in the city. The course looks really sweet. Like I am super excited about going down and checking that race out.
Yeah, if it was up to me, we would go to both. We go to Gateway and Nashville, but anyways, we're going to Nashville, and I'm super.
Who's it not up to? Just curious.
Well, Dad, David, and I talked, and they said they want to go to Nashville instead of St. Louis. So I said, okay, that's fine. Let's go. But them racing over the bridge, being the first time they've raced in Nashville, I'm super excited about it. It's hopefully going to be pretty cool.
Is it going to be right there down by the university?
No, it's in the epicenter
not
of
the
it.
university, but the Titan Stadium.
Yeah, that's going to be the epicenter of it. That's where the main part of it's going to be. But that's what a lot of people were worried about, that they were just going to race around the stadium pretty much in the parking lots and all that. But when they announced the new track and it's going over, I think Korea Memorial Bridge,
Yeah.
going back and forth on that. I mean, it's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. I'm
Toby,
really
are you going?
You got tickets?
They're not for sale yet.
Yeah, I want to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always been, road course. I just like road. I like watching them on TV at least. So we've never been to one in any style racing, but I'm really excited to kind of check that out. So that's going to be pretty cool, especially being pretty close to home.
Sure, that's why I love IndyCar, because I like my street and road courses, but also the oval. Like, I like the mix of it. I can't say I like one up more than the other, but just having a mix of them is what attracts me so much to IndyCar.
What we have to do, though, before all of us get too old, is go ahead and get some tickets and go over in Europe and see an F1 race.
Well, they come to Austin, Texas, and so they come and it's historically been like on my birthday weekend, right around November 1st. And so this year I was talking about wanting to really go, and then of course they canceled. They didn't come over, but if I don't know exactly when it is for next year. I haven't checked the schedule, but I would love to go to down to Austin and check out that race. That would be a really cool experience too.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I mean, there's been talk of Roger Penske trying to get the F1 race back at IMS. So, I mean, if that ever happens, that will be super convenient for us to go. Matter of fact, this Indy 500, when no fans were allowed, the FIA president was at the 500 looking at the facilities. So it's not going to happen next year, but maybe sometime soon it'll be at the Speedway. Yeah,
I know and you and I talked about this a little bit. They said one of the reasons that they haven't been there, at least recently or whatever. Have they ever been there?
Yeah, they have.
Okay. That the pit lane was too narrow.
Yeah.
But I know their cars are going to be smaller in the next iteration in 2023 or 2022, I think maybe. So maybe that buys them some room, so it makes it work a little bit better. But
yeah, I know NASCAR, when they race it, at the Speedway for the Brickyard, they always complain of how small the pit lane is, but they're bumper cars, so they don't care. But if you're actually racing with open wheel racing, that's important.
Yeah. So there's a lot. I know there's a lot to look forward to next year. We've had a lot of fun at the races that we've gone to, historically, and so I know adding in a new race next year, maybe even an F1 race next year, getting back to Indy. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be hopefully a good year.
Yeah. I know Dad and I talked about going to the Harvest GP. Well, it's not even Harvest GP now. It's a Indy Grand Prix. I think that's the same weekend NASCAR is going to be there too, but I wouldn't mind going to IMS again for the road course also.
Shoot, that was one of the best races of the season.
Race
wise.
Usually it's not. Usually it doesn't have great racing, but yeah, it was a good race this year.
Cool. Well, you about to say something, Toby?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, hey, it's been fun catching up, guys, and there's some good stories, and I know I'm looking forward to next year, and still waiting to hear about Hinch, and I guess that's kind of the last domino from our perspective. I know there's other changes and potentially.
Well, yeah, I mean, the two Del Coyne cars is just totally a mystery. Obviously, the fifth Indy car or Andretti car we're wondering about, and also Carlin. You never know what Carlin's going to do, but yeah, we're still waiting on those announcements.
Sounds like they pretty much made up their minds on Mazepin for Haas. They're going to let it ride.
Yeah.
I assume that's. I know we've talked about it. I'm pretty sure that's just money talking there. I mean, if you put the team under without him, in theory, without the funding, or you deal with him on the side and hopefully make sure.
Yeah, I heard Haas just financially can't afford not to have him, so kind of sends a message to that dumb guy that he can pretty much do whatever he wants if his daddy's willing to pay for it.
It does. the stuff I'm seeing on, social media is all, the FIA and, everything that Hamilton and a lot of those guys are standing for about, racing is one, and, kind of slap in the face if FIA doesn't do something about it. It's one thing for the team to make that call and stance, but if the league doesn't step in some way, but I'm sure it doesn't help them to lose a team either. So it's kind of a crappy situation, I guess, for everybody.
Yeah. Unfortunately, money should never talk, but unfortunately, I think that's what we're seeing in F1 and the Haas team right now.
Bullshit should never walk.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Toby.
And ladies and gentlemen, the most insightful statement of the night: bullshit should never walk. And we will wrap it up with that. And thanks for listening. And hope everybody has a happy new year. And maybe next time we get together next week, we'll have some fun news to talk about. But until then, have a great week. Watch some documentaries. Learn up on open wheel racing. Send us some questions or some thoughts about what you'd like for us to talk about or hear about. And if your name happens to be Connor Daly, reach out. We want to have you on the show. And I hope you had a good birthday and a good Christmas, everybody. So take it easy, guys.
See ya.